Hello everyone, Dark Kirby 4T here. Welcome to more Costume Quest. Alright, there's something I want to talk about here today. There's something that needs to be talked about. This is for all those people that keep saying Nebraska would beat Michigan 97. I got one thing to say to you. Get the hell out of here. And no. No. And no. And I am not saying this as a Michigan fan. I am saying this in the realest way I can. And I'm not going to say that Michigan would have won the blowout because that's nonsense. That's freaking nonsense. Michigan would definitely have won the game. But not in blowout fashion. No. The game would not have been a blowout in any sense of the word at all. It would have been an interesting game, definitely. But it would have ended 24-14 Michigan. People don't understand how good Michigan's defense was and how savage they were. Like, Michigan's defense was freaking savage that year. And I don't think people understand just how good they were defensively. Like, if you wanted like a really good comparison, Michigan played the same two opponents that Nebraska did. Michigan only gave up a field goal to Baylor. Well, they're both Colorado and Baylor. And Baylor's field goal was basically a gift for Michigan. And was basically gifted to them because of a Chris Howard fumble. After that, they did nothing. So if you think about it this way, if Chris Howard doesn't fumble that ball, Michigan would have got a shutout that game. No bones about it. And another one sticking point, Michigan went on the road against number 2 Penn State. Not number 1, but number 2. And Penn State was number 1 at some point during that season. Penn State was number 2. And Michigan humiliated them. They didn't just beat Penn State. They humiliated Penn State. Like, it was utter destruction. Like, it was not even close. Like Michigan had Penn State's lone touchdown came with I think it was less than halfway, with not a lot of time left in the fourth quarter. But Michigan destroyed them. And then Michigan played a solid game against a solid Wisconsin team on the road. Camp Randall's, it doesn't matter. The unranked Wisconsin or ranked. A Wisconsin team that good is... A Wisconsin team, no matter what, is going to cause trouble. Because they're a pain in the butt. They're a pain in the butt is what they are. But yeah. So that's kind of what what's going on here. Let me try this again. Anyway, so that's kind of what that's kind of how I think of it. Is I look at it as like, you don't understand how good Michigan was that year. And then I saw some people that just said Tennessee would have beat Michigan. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. No. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Because even as good as Peyton Manning is, Peyton Manning was still known for choking in big games. He was still known for choking away games. Like, he was still known to gag away games. He was known to choke. Everybody knew that. And Peyton Manning always had problems with top teams in college. He always had problems. And I think he would have been picked off 4 times. He would have been picked off 4 times, twice by Charles Woodson, easily. People don't understand how good and Michigan had a lot of good pros on that team. Dahani Jones, like players that people don't talk about, like Dahani Jones, Ian Gold. Like, they had a lot of good pros on that team. And Glenn Steele would have been another one of those if he could have freaking stayed healthy. That was the one thing that was a big knock on some Michigan players in the 90s. Whether it was by anything else, but, yeah. So that's kind of my point. And so, yeah, it's just I don't understand it. But there's no doubt in my mind Michigan would have won that game. Maybe not by like a big, gigantic blowout, and there's no way in hell that happens. But Michigan would have won the game by 10 points. I'm saying 24-14. Michigan had the toughest schedule in terms of wins and losses from a year ago. And also had a tougher strength of schedule than Nebraska. And also had a tougher strength of schedule. And played in a tough, like, and that was when the SEC was becoming a power. That was when the SEC was becoming a force. That was back when they were becoming a force. Like, when they were really just getting started. And they were really just starting to get good. And that was really when that started, really. And that's kind of what, it's kind of like, yeah, it's like that's when they really, the SEC kind of got started. Is there any, there's probably a thing I gotta talk to at some point. But, so, and I still think that, I think a lot of people don't look at it that way. It's just like, and then I heard another stupid argument, like with my friends on Facebook. I heard still the stupid arguments, like, they beat Iowa at home with frickin' the refs helping them. I went back and we re-watched that game. I went back and re-watched that game. And his argument holds no weight. Because the calls against Iowa on that drive were clear as day calls. They weren't like home cooking calls. They were obvious penalties. So that was an easy call. It's not like it was a bad call. It was an obvious call. And one call that had to be made. Because it was clearly a penalty. No matter what team you root for, that was an easy call. That was an easy call to make. Like the pass interference, and that's the thing is that the thing with that one in particular is that it probably was closer along the lines of illegal contact. But the other thing is the difference is it's 10 yards. The only thing it's a difference of is 10 yards. And, yeah, that's it. It was only a difference of about 10 yards. But even still, either way, it's still a first down. Whether anyone wants to admit it or not, it's still a first down. It doesn't change anything. And then the second one was offsides. Another obvious call, but again, there was a first down converted on the play, so it's insignificant. That was an insignificant penalty because Michigan had the first down either way you looked at it. So that's the lump of that. So yeah, that was an obvious call. Yeah, and it's just that argument doesn't make any sense. Like my argument that fact that Nebraska should have lost to Missouri holds a lot more weight because it was a kicked ball. Like the ball was kicked. Like there's no question about it, intentional or not. He still kicked it. It is an illegal kick, and it should have wiped out that play entirely. And it was no time left, so Missouri should have won the game. And the pollsters punished them for it. The pollsters punished Nebraska rightfully for that. They figured if they're not going to get punished in the wins-loss column, we can punish them by taking away their ranking. And they failed because of that. They should not have won that game. That was as clear as day an illegal back. that doesn't make any sense. Though that was a terrible argument. Like, and okay, so this is how you get past them. Yeah, this is how you get past. Yeah, okay, so the ninja costume is how you get past it. But the back to my point is that Penn State would still have, like Michigan would have won that game. Another stupid argument was like, oh, you gave up like a bunch of passing yards around. It was like, most of those passing yards came when they were down big. Like, most of those points came when they were trailing. Like, I don't know if people understand that. Like, they were still losing. Like, they were losing, and a lot of those yards came in chunk plays. And, like, early, like, Michigan dominated the middle part of that game. And Nebraska and Washington State should never have been positioned that got all the way down the field. That drive should have been stalled out much earlier because of a push-off. And it was a clear as day push-off. He clearly put his hands in the back of Charles Woodson. Like, you can argue that all day until the cows come home. That was a push-off. Like, very clearly a push-off. Like, that's not even a debatable call. That was a push-off. And I think it's a moronic argument, really. I don't not using this guy's ability because it's a what you call it, like a yeah, you guys can get lost, but it's a cockamamie, is stupid, pointless, idiotic argument that no. Oh. Hey, that was a freaking, I think it was a partial Psychonauts reference in there. That was a Psychonauts reference. Yeah. So he stopped that guy. We stopped him. So yeah, that's just the thing. Is it that doesn't make a lot of sense to me? And that was a bad argument, really, from the start. Yeah, that was a dumb argument, really. Because if you think about it, they would have won that game. Michigan would still have won. Oh wait, there we go. There we go. So that's kind of a dumb argument. You know, I just look at it as like a ridiculous argument, really. Okay, so that's no longer in the way. That's good. But I'm saying that, like, Michigan would have won the game, not like a blowout. No, that would not have been a blowout. And not only that, the coaches poll was the only national championship that Nebraska won. Every other national championship handed out that year was given to Michigan. Every one. Every one of the other ones was given to the Wolverines. Like, and that was without debate. Like, that wasn't a debatable one either. Michigan was given the other ones. Like, they won the other ones. And they won it. And they won the other ones. Like, the coaches poll. The only reason they won the only way is in Nebraska won the coaches poll is because freaking Scott Frost whining like a little girl. That was the only reason they even won the coaches poll. Because of that and it being Scott, whatever. Anyway, this has been Dark Kirby 14. We'll see you next time. More Costume Quest.